Good evening from Yami B TV. Wishing you all well today, sending loads of love. Hoping your day and week is going the best it possibly can so far. First of all, I'd like to make serious apologies for calling you all out the other day, especially with the live show. That's the one I'm talking about in particular, where I got everybody hyped up and ready that I was going to be ready and I wasn't for varying reasons. But basically, I chucked the towel in and got so frustrated that it done my head in again. Disability got the better of me, or I let it get the better of me. But I promise you I'll make it up to you someday. I don't know, you lot that believe in me, you know that I will. Because every encounter I seem to bump into seems to be, it's either I'm unlucky sometimes or I'm the making of my own, my own bad luck, if you get what I mean. But that topic that I'm talking about today, and along the years, I've met many, many men from the military forces, from Marines to soldiers to RAF to even doctors that served in the war and all needlessly wars as well. Talking to somebody just a minute ago, highlighting that factor. The wars, so is it really real that or really right that you should be able to, apply to go and serve your queen and country for whatever reasons you want to do it for, but when you come back, you don't get no help. And a lot of the years, I witnessed all varying kind of conditions with that PTSD stuff. But my reasoning behind every single thing that I've ever come across in that system, sometimes PTSD coming from war, things you've witnessed, stuff you've been through, even mine, even yours. Sometimes I've encountered where men are just really, really evil. Full stop. So I think I'm in a good position to say who I think was a bit off key and who's got mental issues and who I think could be suffering a little bit. I'm sure that we would be able to notice what kind of things PTSD comes under, when someone is not, quite right or quite well. But I've also bumped into forces that seem quite mentally all right to me. And some of the crimes are very, very serious with loss of life. There are cases with PTSD and where, it's clear to the eye that there was no, it can't be really put down to them. But they still end up in prison, a lot of them. And like I said, from the 80s onwards, many of us who were around that time, getting old like me, would have witnessed that they got treated, armed forces, military, etc., got treated like royalty in the 80s and late 70s. There seemed to be a change as time went on because a difference in the kind of cases that have happened since that time have changed quite a bit, and the outlooks and perspective and change of staff and scenery and, people's general outlook. But they did used to get treated like royalty. By that I mean when you come from the military forces, you commit a crime of some kind, and you have to get a prison sentence for it. I mean by getting the best jobs, like orderlies, T-boy jobs. And I met some serious, serious fit geezers from the Marines and forces. Some really nice gentlemen as well, who might not have been off key mentally, but it was slightly something different about them. From meeting men that were in the war, in some of those needless wars, who turned out to be hitmen as well and end up with life sentences for one reason or another, because the loss of life is the most serious crime I believe that can happen in that life that I led. But all in all, good, bad, mad, sad, whatever way we try and butter it up, some you just won't be able to sympathise with. And the guy that I'm going to talk about now, Gary W., was meant to have been in the Marines. I know there's a paper clipping somewhere, but he was in the Cat A's and he was with me and many others. But somebody that you meet that I believe, if I go by, popular, from what everybody felt in there, 90% just didn't get him, didn't like him. He was 6'6", 20 stone. Talks about the forces, talks about fighting, but was alleged to have murdered a woman, a lady, and it was meant to have been a pen pal, somebody that you writ to while he was in the army and came back to leave the army for, so you could marry or something like that. Because I'm going to get my paper clippings from what I saw. Then I never saw his case papers or nothing. But in general, somebody that I hated on sight for one reason or another. All right. and I had a couple of run-ins with him. He's very, if I'm cheeky, the cheeky chappy, he's very not just dry because we're allowed to be dry, but you say things like you're taking the mickey, belittling and seeing that you, and many men like that in jail, where they feel the need to say things to make themselves look a bit bigger and better than you in front of a crowd. And with his size and his appearance and that, very could be frightening to a lot of men. But during that life, not looking at him, I was frightened of a few men, but I definitely wasn't frightened of him. But on this time, this story here, before I go into another couple of videos regarding the military scenarios that I've encountered along the years, he was somebody that I was waiting for, a chance to pull out that weapon in the old Yami B way. And, I waited patiently for him to slip up because I didn't want to start him. I mean, he wasn't involved in dealing, he wasn't involved in gangs, he wasn't involved in the mix-ups on the wing. I'm not. I'm not the Father in heaven, but I speak it how I was thinking from back then. So when this day happened, I was pretty pleased, to be honest, to say the least. And it was late. I was all alone in the Cat A's, and I had some problems building up to this week because once we was in the showers with this guy, and he seemed to just laugh at people, and so that they know that you're laughing and taking a piss out of them, but you're not directly saying what it is. But because some people are going to be intimidated by the appearance and that, like we've just said, you seem to get away with it quite a lot. But until you're going to bump into a man, some men that are just not going to be, taking your wit or your humour. So be aware when you go to those places, or if you go to those places, stay away from them places. Yami BTV says. But I'm so want to get into this story because I've been getting in a tangle with the stories lately, mixed with the positive and negative messages. It gets confusing for me, so I decide now to do everything a bit separately. We can pretend to be Yami back in the day, and we can be who I really am today, which is Samson. But now we're going to be Yami B. So I'm around the Birmingham lot, the burgers. I think it was this time. There was 3 or 4 on my wing. I got on pretty well with. Liked them quite a lot, and it was somebody's birthday. Now, in the Cat A's, sometimes there's not a lot of stuff freely available. You need a bit of luck sometimes with the currency side of things, phones, drugs, etc. Because when it runs out, everybody's always waiting on 1 man or 2 men. Well, so it used to be. I don't know whether it's changed much now. But anyway, he was getting ready to celebrate his birthday. He was telling everyone at tea time, I just want to get banged up. I got my green, I got my this, I got my that. And we're going to bang up and then we're going to have my own little party. And it was a Saturday night, the day it fell on his birthday, right? Friday night, sorry. So he's banged up. So I'm opposite that way, 2 doors opposite me that way. Him, the party man from Birmingham, and the Marine, allegedly. Right, so the party begins. So I'm listening to the music because in them days you could get the £400 stereos that have got the super volts and the big speakers. You get all that when you're in the Cays or you're long-term prisoner. You used to be able to buy some big stereos, and then they put a stop to that because some of the bass lines used to shake through the walls. And on this night, B, we'll call him, even though that's his nickname, B, or half of the nickname, he was playing his music loudly, and it was jungle, and it was bassy, and it was loud, and the garage came on. So everybody was tuning in on the landing. So it's about 11 o'clock at night. So to say that it helps with the spirit sometimes, make yourself feel better, whatever way you want to look at it. So I'm engaging, everybody's engaging, doors are being banged, and bang. A red light goes on because when you look through the spiles, when someone presses their night alarm, it's normally either because they left their mini light on, or whether they want to make a complaint, or whether they want to press their bell to leg it, or whether they want to press their bell to get somebody into trouble. And that's what this Gary W was doing. So he complained about the music, a very thing that causes many fights in there as well, wrongly or rightly. He knew the deal because he was told beforehand that there was going to be a party, and we'll sort it out. We won't go on longer than 12:31 because it's not every man, of course, that wants to join into the party, like we've said already. So bang, the red light goes on. I'm thinking, no, that's the neighbour, that's him. I'm thinking, never, ever, ever. What's he pressing his bell for? the night screw goes there, night officer. He goes to the door. He's looking at this little thing, conference thing, and then bang, he goes to next door to the party man who's next door to Gary W, my friend B. And he said to him, listen, you're going to have to turn that music down, otherwise all else. And B said, what music? My music's only up to that extent there. Nobody else is complaining. Why is he complaining? You know? All right, so this night man ain't tolerant. No warning, no nothing. Not putting up with it. Undone the lock thing where the electric is, because they're outside the doors in there. So they got the power to turn it off and on whenever they feel free. And he has turned it off. So the party finished. All night I'm thinking, nah, can't be. He's not going to be able to do that. To be able to press the bell to stop a party where there's loads of people participating in the middle of the night and not expect nothing in the morning. But because of other people trying to do better for themselves as well, I was thinking maybe they might just leave it, not go on with nothing bad, and just take it because, you know, everybody seemed to feel the same way about the same guy. Morning's opened. I looked across the railings, came out. My friend, who's not too small himself, about 6 foot, but like I said, the other geezer looks like a monster, but I already saw through it. Didn't believe that he was as much man as what he was saying. Don't ask me how I know why. Not just because I believe that, you know, he didn't have PTSD, that he was a calculating, cold-hearted killer, somebody that was trying to help him, who was trying to be a pen pal. But again, I'm not judge and jury. I just tell you Yammy's thoughts at that time. So I've looked at me. He said to me, Yammy, come. Like everybody always used to call me in that life in that day. So I've come round the landing, come to his door. He said, please, Yammy, do me a favour. I goes, I know what you're going to say, B. You're going to tell me to watch the door because you're going to want to go and have a word with him. So, like I said, so the door's open. So he's called the geezer outside. But B said to me beforehand, Yam, I don't want to go into his cell and fight him there where there's going to be a crime scene. But I'm more thinking, B, are you sure? If you've got a weapon, like, do you want one kind of thing? Shall I just come in and we just go and do the job kind of thing? He said, no, I can deal with this. So I didn't feel that fear that he was going to lose, but I thought he might have more difficulties than what I expected, or I had the feeling that if he, imagine getting beaten by somebody that's hated by everyone as well. I'm thinking more of him at that time as well. So he's gone to me, just hold the door and don't. So, but as the man's come out of the cell, he's going, can I have a word with you into mine? Because you know, if you get caught in somebody else's cell, it's a crime scene. So you've got to be careful of that, because the argument's always going to be, what was you doing in there? You see what I mean? So now he's gone into me cell. I'm thinking, smart move, because if anything happens in there, you could always say, what's he doing in mine? He came in to confront me, kind of thing. So he's gone in to the cell. I pushed open the door and I've used it as a time where I remembered this guy. I've had little, like, not beef with him, but little things, like I said, niggly little things that I thought, all right, I'll get you the next day. I'll say something that'll upset you, the tit for tat thing. So I walked in. I said, B, do you need me, kind of thing, like giving it all that. Do you want me? Like, yeah, I don't need it. No, I don't need you. Like, and first thing he said to him, why are you messing up my party? Why are you telling the officers that? Why are you messing it up for everybody? I'm only get one birthday a year. I'm already 10 years into a 5-year tariff. I beg you, leave me, let me enjoy myself. So he said to me, well, I warned you about the music. Like, you're playing judge, jury and officer. You know, like, you could run the rules of the wing just because you can't get your head down. Well, hey, you know, how did the people feel? Like, even me, when I used to talk to myself and I say, oh, well, this has happened to you, Yammy. You know, well, you think about all the things you did to everybody else to right size things. So, yep, he didn't want to play ball with the prison moral code of the street, as we call it, and bang, big FUD, bang. He tried to lift up his hands, because remember, he's big, but he was almost, he got caught with one. All right, fair enough, but you didn't look too hurt to me. You looked like you could have thrown one back. You got another one, another big right hand, another big left hand. Every single blow bruised him. Lump, 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 lump. I said to myself, no. I said, B. I said, come out, because I don't want him to go down the block. I don't want him to get in trouble. Don't want anything to happen, like that. But you could see, I was kind of like, sadly, in that, like, this is how I used to be. I was kind of happy that he got a proper hiding and only 4 big thuds. So he's ended up on the bed. I've gone, right, B, yeah, I said, get down, go back into your own cell. My chance to belittle him, sadly, Eve, horrible man I was too back in the day. But I still don't look back with that too many regrets about that. I don't know why. And sometimes it's just in me still. I suppose forgiveness and that kind of stuff. Some people that you just could never stomach, never will. I'm not going to try and butter it up. So I seem to have broken it all up without anybody seeing anything. Bang now. Oh, we're all banged up. I'm kind of, the burgers, everybody's kind of celebrating a little bit. Saying, yeah, be nice one. Yeah, it looks good. All right, thank. And plus, it's a hated man as well, so he's not going to get too much stick over that B. Bang. Later on in the evening, half hour after, he gets called. It's Saturday morning, not medical, association. He does want to come out of his cell because of the bruises. Normal people don't, come out their cell when they got bruises. They sit in there, put a blanket over them, cover it up, towels, so the officers don't see. He has walked down to the front office and said that he's been assaulted. So they banged up everybody, took me away, and he came back a week later or something. So thankfully that didn't end out too bad. But again, following on, we're going to keep going into the military stuff. I've got another one coming up in a minute. Oh, also the budgie tale coming up as well. Sending loads of love.